Hi. This is my first time visiting and posting on your website and involves something someone posted to your website. I found this picture on a gun/survivalist web forum I frequent. I asked about its origins and was directed here. I am a SGT in the Marines stationed at 29 Palms, and I'm convinced that I have worked for and with the gunny that wrote this. I've known him for a few years and he is a very down-to-earth, smart guy. A real outdoorsman. We did 2 deployments together, the last one I was actually in his platoon as a corporal a couple of years back. I know he does a lot of camping and stuff, so about 2 months ago I asked him where would be a good place to go camping out here, and he did something really unusual. He took me to the side and told me to never, under any circumstances, stay out overnight in the national park. He made me promise I wouldn't and said it would be unsafe for me, my wife, or anyone else. When I asked why, he said he had a run-in with a tweaked-out meth head over the Thanksgiving holiday last year. Well, I know he's been out there alone several times in the last few months by himself over the weekends, so I asked him why he'd go out if it was dangerous. And he got this weird far-off look and said,
"I'm hunting that monster down before someone gets killed."
I was like, wow. Really, gunny? And he snaps back like a guy having a flashback and kind of fake laughs, saying he won't actually kill the meth head, just scare him. And then he left, and I forgot about it. Okay, so here's the fucked up part. Are you guys following the news? If you do, you'll know a Marine's wife went missing out here last month. On Friday, June 28th, the girl Erin Corwin, Google her name, who was nearly 2 months pregnant, told her husband she was heading to Joshua Tree National Park to check out scenic places for her and her mother, who was expected to arrive the following week, to visit. She never returned home and her husband called police the following day. They have searched hundreds of square miles of around the park and found nothing of her. That same Friday afternoon around 18:30 I ran into Gunny at the gas station. He was getting gas and was wearing non-issue desert camo. The back of his truck was heaped up with gear, sleeping bag, tent, ropes, bound wood, ammo cases, etc. Andy was like, "Damn, hey guns, are you going to war or what?" Then he did something that kinda scared the shit out of me. He looked me straight in the eye, stared at me for a few seconds like he didn't recognize me, and then says,
"You. Get you and your wife back to your house and don't you dare fucking leave it again until tomorrow morning. I'm fucking serious. Do you understand me, Marine?"
I said yes. He put up the pump and drove up Utah Trail Road to the national park. I'll be honest, I was pissed that he talked to me like that, and that he'd try to tell me what to do over weekend libo without an explanation. So me and the wife got back in the car and went about our day as we planned. So that next Monday I don't see Gunny at work. I didn't think anything of it. On Tuesday he comes in and the left side of his face is bruised up real bad. Black eye and everything. When I ask, he says he tried to leave the park late Saturday night and he totaled his truck when he accidentally drove it into a gully. I asked him why he told me to go home the way he did and he stares at me blankly and says he remembered seeing me but didn't remember talking to me. Then he said he didn't want to talk about it and just walked off. He went on leave the next day for 2 weeks. Once that girl Erin was announced as missing, I know he was one of the volunteers that helped search for her while he was on leave. When he came back to work on July the 16th, he was like a totally different guy. Doesn't talk to anyone anymore. Just tells us what to do for the day but then keeps to himself. Doesn't smile, laugh, chew anyone's ass, nothing. Others have noticed too. Other people know he totaled his truck, but only I know about our camping conversation. And after reading the picture I've attached here, I'm starting to think something really fucked up is going on. So that's it? What do you think is going on, and what should I do? Hey guys, it's me again. For the record, your forum here is kinda hard to use. There's very little organization. Anyway. So I talked to Gunny today. I started off with a couple of offhand questions about things from the past, like hey Gunny. Do you remember that guy on our deployment in 2012 that we had to send home because of a pelvic fracture when we hit our first IED? Do you remember his name? He looked at me for a few seconds each time and then says,
Yeah, it was Crawford. Neil Crawford.
Then he walked off. He knew the answers to my questions, he just seemed really out of it. So once I felt pretty confident that he was still himself, I asked a couple of buddies to hang outside the office while I went and talked to him. This was about an hour ago. I walked in, sat down, and I told him I saw his online post about what happened last Thanksgiving. Then I asked him what really happened when he went to the park that weekend a month ago. He stares at me and says,
What I'm about to tell you is the one and only time I'm going to talk about this to anyone. There is something evil in that desert. For the last few months I've done my best to try to find and kill it and keep it away from the campgrounds and people there. That Friday I felt like I was being pulled into that desert. I knew something bad was about to happen. Well, it did. I almost got myself killed. Now that girl is gone for good, and in the end I couldn't do anything about it. That's all I'm ever going to say about it. Go tell your friends online that if you want, but I won't talk about it again. And tell people to stay away from there.
It was a pretty uncomfortable conversation. I thanked him and left. Now I'm posting from my phone. I'm not sure what to do next. I'm thinking about telling some of the guys about this and trying to get a few of us armed and out there this weekend to try and get this person or thing that lives there. What are your thoughts?
My African American brother, you better have a fucking battalion if you want to take this thing on. I've been in Cali deserts my whole life and there are just things that you don't do.
Yeah, well, Guns was by himself. If there are 4 or 5 of us out there, I think we'd be good. I'm in 0331, and most of my friends are from my weapons platoon and we know our shit. Plus I'm sure that we have enough personally owned firepower to get the job done if needed. I just need to read more about this and figure out what we're up against before I do anything else.
Buddy, if you do that. A personal request from me is to become a trip frag, which just means you get a name on the board and we know it's you. Also, if you manage to kill it, mention how much firepower and if explosives were used, homemade or otherwise.